rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If everyone would remain standing if they so wish. Commissioner Marks, would you lead us in an invocation?
Yes, sir. Well, Father, we come to you today in hopes that we can make decisions that will benefit the people of this county as well as glorify yourself. And we simply ask that you bless our goings and doings here in a manner that pleases you. In your name we pray. Amen.
All right, at this time, could we have a roll call?
Commissioner Webster? Here. Commissioner Holzhausen?
Here.
Commissioner McMaster?
Here.
Commissioner Garber? Here. Commissioner Marks?
Here.
Commissioner Plowman?
Here.
Chairman Root?
Here. All members are present, so we have the agenda in front of us. Everyone's seen it.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda, and I'd like to amend that we, and under Economic, Physical, and Development Committee, that we do B, C, D, E under consent agreement.
Support?
All right, we have a motion and support to add a consent agenda of items B, C, D, and E from the Economic and Development Committee. Do we have any discussion on this? I do have a little discussion. Mike, what did we decide for the Veterans Office? Did we get anything more on that?
Because they're existing positions, I noticed we had talked last night, because they're existing positions, if you give a go-ahead, we'll talk about it, if we both agree, we can do it, because it's filling positions that are vacant. And we can talk more about it.
Okay, then we'll just go with this for now. And any other discussion on adding approval of the agenda with adding the consent agenda? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. The agenda is approved with the consent agenda. Now we'll move to approval of the minutes. I'll ask for a motion to approve the minutes of the December 12th, 2019 Board of Commissioners meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
A motion, Commissioner Garber, a second from Commissioner Marks. Any discussion on those minutes? Corrections? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. That motion's approved. We will move to our organizational meeting minutes on January 2nd, 2020.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
We got a motion by Commissioner Plowman, a second by Commissioner Garber. Discussion on those minutes? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. That motion is approved. And we will go to approve the bills. Commissioner Plowman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move to approve the invoice and reports dated 1/7/2020, 1/9/2020, 1/13/2020, 1/16/2020, for a total of $1,577,123.49. Also, wire transfers and ACH and EFTs of $248,290.16, $4,435.87, and $214,884. And the grand total of all is $2,044,733.52, both badge and wire, and to authorize that warrants be drawn from the treasury for sale.
We have a motion to pay the bills.
Second.
We have a second from Commissioner Marks. Discussion on the bills.
Just want to say I really appreciate the reports that Tracy is sending out each month. They're very helpful. Thank you,
Yeah.
Tracy.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, anything else? Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Holzhausen?
Yes.
Commissioner McMaster?
Yes.
Commissioner Garber?
Yes.
Commissioner Marks?
Yes.
Commissioner Plowman?
Yes.
Commissioner Webster?
Yes.
Chairman Root?
Yes. Approved. This time we'll move to our first opportunity for the public to address the board. If there's anybody that has anything they would like to address the board, please fill out a slip.
Let's see, we get off to a better start tonight. I've got a request and a few comments. I understand you operate under Robert's rules, which is pretty standard, and that's fine. Not as familiar as I wish I were, but I do have a question, and maybe Marlene, you can help me with this as my representative. What are my rights of participation in petition as a county resident in the commission meetings? Maybe I should address it to you, Chairman Root.
Do you want me to answer that now, or should I answer after?
Go ahead.
So, from what I understand from the Open Meetings Act, because it is part of the Open Meetings Act that you have a right to speak in the public.
Oh, I know that.
You have a right to speak at a time limit determined by the board, whatever the policy is. Here it's 3 minutes. And that your comments have to be directed to whoever is chairing the meeting. So the reason there was the issue last night is because you were talking to Commissioner.
Well, we should clear that
Chairman
up
Root.
then. You know,
So
there's a
whoever's
problem.
sitting in that seat is he's the chairman of the board, but he was the chair of
I
the
didn't
board.
understand that. And
So whoever's sitting in that seat is who has to be addressed. And typically, the reason I asked the chairman if I could answer is it's not necessarily an opportunity for dialogue, but sometimes we do answer questions. So it's not supposed to be a back and forth between the person speaking and the commissioners. You're supposed to be able to speak freely without anybody saying anything to you while you speak. And
that hasn't been the case, but that's fine. I don't
and
care about that.
and I think
And
there's,
I see
I'd
that
have to
shaking,
double
and I
check
don't
whether
care
it's
about that either.
I'd have to double check to see if it's in the Open Meetings Act or whether that's by individual policy. I know that you can have a written policy that says if someone
Oh, I
is-
imagined you had one, but I
is
wasn't sure.
directing comments to someone particularly or whatever, that the chairman can ask you to discontinue. You can't. There's just some issues you can't bring up, like personnel issues. The person, if you're talking about county personnel, they have a right to request closed session if their job function is being discussed publicly.
Am I invited to that?
A closed session, no.
Oh, okay. I guess I need to, for some guidelines, I guess I have to look at the open meetings,
Look at the
and I'm
Open
sure
Meetings
that's
Act.
online.
I think you can find a
Oh,
copy
yeah,
of that, yeah.
no problem. There was some conversation at the end of yesterday about sound and recording, video recording. And it occurs to me that in this day of technology, that's not a problem. And evidently the money's not a problem. It occurred to me as I was driving home last night that you could get a good quality GoPro, excuse me, and maybe accomplish that. Another suggestion I had, for whatever it might be worth, is to conduct the meeting in a larger venue. There must be a small meeting room in the county somewhere that would more readily accommodate acoustically and perhaps with respect to videography, the needs of the commission. What else? I understand I'll get another chance to speak at the end. Thank you. Okay, I don't want to, I can say a whole lot in 3 minutes, and I can certainly say a whole lot in 6, so I'll wait and pick it up at the end. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else at this time for public comment? I am actually going to take time to say something right now. We'll notice that the camera is operational today. We are filming again. It is still not going to be the answer. The technology committee will be tasked with finding something, maybe better vendors. Sound in this room is still a priority as well. This microphone, not always the best situation either, so the technology committee will still be tasked with that. We did go ahead with this for now. I'll acknowledge that was a misjudgment on my part. I take the blame for it. I made the call not to do it. I had no clue that it would be such an outrage as we took our time to try to figure out what we could utilize in the time being, but I take full responsibility, as I have all week, that I made the call not to put it up, and I also made the call today to put it back up so that we're here. And I reached out to several folks today to let them know the emails that I got. I responded back to them, so we are up and running as of today. We hope we don't have any hiccups. We hope it sounds good. We hope the quality's decent. But for the time being, it's up, it's running. Meetings will still be broadcast, and we will continue as we have to work at the best of our ability to be as transparent as possible. So that's all I have to say. Is there anyone else at this time that would like to speak before we go on to the agendas?
If I could, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
To address the taping of the meetings, several months ago I attended a Shiawassee County Road Commission meeting. And they had watched one of our videos on YouTube, and there was a sentence that they took out of context because of the sound quality. They thought, in fact, that one of us commissioners said something that we did not. So Brent Freeze, managing director, asked me would I listen to it. And because I was at the meeting, I knew that's what was not said, but it created, because of that sound quality and because of them misinterpreting what was said, to this day, it's caused an issue. So I just want to put that out there.
Mr. Chair, can we get a copy of our policy in regard to public comment, and get them to this individual or to Mr. Herring? I know we have a written policy.
Oh, there is already.
I think we should go ahead and get some just for the meantime and try to start setting them out at our meetings so that
And
people know.
the reason I say that, which is part two, is numerous of us individuals have been down, for example, to the Byron School Board meetings, which there is quite a bit of discussion or discretion and leeway in the Open Meetings Act on what can be said, what cannot be said. And we have seen that on there. You don't get to speak at the beginning or the end, you only get to speak once. You're gavelled if and it says in their rules that they have. They run it a little different than we do, but maybe we should do that. Get a copy, have it sitting out for the meeting. So
I think that'll probably also be something we need to look at too.
I would add, I do have a copy, but Chairman Luke gave me a copy of theirs. Some of them are, I think, are a little thing, but you're correct about, and even our operational rules do not mandate 2 speaking sessions. But, you know, I mean, the board has always been pretty indulgent. We don't have a crowd.
We have a pretty liberal, open public comment.
The city of Wausau, because I think was a pretty reasonable public comment thing.
Yeah, and they actually, and then what
And they
happens?
read it, yeah, at each meeting.
And then after the public comment, the mayor makes a list, and some of the stuff isn't addressed, but some of the stuff they'll go through the list and say, see me afterwards, or Public Works, this person, look into this, or see me, or whatever, so, they do a follow-up, but yeah, maybe that's something we can do, is have it sitting down.
Certainly. All right, anything else? From anyone else, public comment again to the audience if they have anything. If not, we are going to go into our committee reports. Commissioner Holzhausen, we'll start with you.
Yeah, we had our senior citizens meeting Wednesday. Everything was going fairly good. I think they had quite a discussion. We put a new floor in down to Durand, and the tile, or I don't know if it's a cement floor, and for some reason some of the tile are coming out, and they got to get a hold of the guy, and hadn't been able to get a hold of him. He's been busy fixing it. That was kind of the issue. Otherwise, everything is going very well. And then I'm on the Health and Wellness Board. We meet Monday in the finance. I'm on the finance committee, so that everything's been going good on that board. So I think I'm on the nominating committee, and I think we got somebody that just went off the board. So I don't know who it was. So we got to get together on that, plus a regular committee. So.
Commissioner Webster?
I'm on the Council on Aging, but was not able to attend yesterday's meeting due to a family situation. And the VTRIP Board, I'm serving on 2 committees there. So we haven't met yet in January. I'm serving on the Executive Committee and the Personnel Committee, and I'm the Vice President on that board now. So I don't really have a lot to report. In December, we had a very short meeting followed by a Christmas lunch. So.
All right. Commissioner McMaster?
A lot of my meetings have not met yet, for the first of the year for January, but I have a lot of meetings coming up in the next 2 weeks. I will say, on a couple of reports I did attend, I sit on, Commissioner Garber and I sit on the Midwest Trail Authority Board, but I actually went and was able to attend a Clinton Island Shiawassee Trail meeting in St. John's, which was kind of nice, to have conversations and kind of give a report from our authority board that we sit on. Clerk Wilson and I are working on the bail issue. We've actually we've met with a potential vendor, outside consultant, somewhat. It's one of many meetings, conversations we have with a lot of different groups, get a handle on what we should do and stuff. So maybe in a month or two, we'll come to the board, hopefully with a report of this is what we should do to be better efficient, to save money, to cut down on the mail delivery time and stuff. I did attend a bunch of meetings last Friday, the Health and Human Service group, and then the Homeless Coalition. I was informed, and Veterans Office upstairs knows this, there are 2 new homeless veterans in the county. When I say homeless, they're not on the river or on the street. They're actually, one staying at a relative's and one staying someplace else. They're being helped. I was a little alarmed when I heard that, because we know in the past there's 2, one that was being helped, one that didn't want help, and I was told there's 2 more, so those counts increased by 100%. But they may be homeless and don't have their own home, but they are being served via our office upstairs and other outside groups. There is a pit count coming up, it's a point in time count on the 29th. I'm going to participate in that, where a lot of different agencies, law enforcement, a lot of groups go out and try to do a count, whether it's in a park, or whether it's on the river, or on a street, or at Walmart, or wherever. Try to get an idea of how many, what that homeless population is for that evening, or potentially the next couple days. That's everything I have at this point.
All right, thank you, Commissioner McMaster. Commissioner Marks?
Nothing new.
All right, Commissioner Garber?
I have nothing, thank you.
Commissioner Plum?
The only meeting I've had this month so far is Road Commission. Basically, is a routine meeting, but they've set up their road maintenance for next summer, about 23 miles, close to 23 miles. And then they'll be coming out, and I think in February, with the next 3 years of roads under the extra money we've been getting. And it'll be a nice colored map, and I'll bring everybody one. Other than that, it's pretty routine. Winter's been pretty quiet for them, so the blades they don't use, and the salt they don't use, and the sand they don't use is a big deal. So, yep, that's it.
Yeah, things seem to continue to get better with the road commission as far as relationship too. I know we had a rough, kind of a rocky relationship with them last year. Not really rocky, we just had a few things we need to iron out and some questions we needed answered, and we went through some motions, but the road commission has been more than willing to reach out, keep in contact, and with Commissioner Plowman going now, we have kind of a good understanding of what's going on over there, and they've been a lot more receptive and open to some of the townships, and some of the townships that weren't getting as much attention, or they're really working well with them now. So, we might have a tough process that we went through, but I think some good has come from it on both of our ends. We're working together a lot better. So at this time, we will go into our committee and motion reports. Commissioner Plowman.
Yeah, I have to do it. Yeah. The committee moved to approve a farmland PA 116 agreement for Joseph Visa for property located in Venice Township, parcel number 008-03-200-002-01.
All right, so we just need discussion now?
Yep.
All right, any discussion on this one? Committee's moved it forward. If not, we'll do a roll call vote, please.
Commissioner McMaster,
Yes.
Commissioner Garber,
Yes.
Commissioner Marks,
Yes.
Commissioner Plowman,
Yes.
Commissioner Webster,
Yes.
Commissioner Holzhausen,
Yes.
Chairman Root.
Yes. Motion approved.
The committee moved to, under a consent agreement, items B, C, D, E, which are all appointments.
All right, the committee's moved. Do we have any discussion on the consent agenda? All those
Do
in
we need a
favor?
second on that one?
Yeah.
Second.
I'm
I
wondering.
think it's second,
You-
right?
If the committee, well, because you guys put it on the consent agenda just to, yeah,
Or do
we
a
need a
second.
second.
All right, do we have a second?
Yeah.
All right, we have a second from Commissioner Webster. Discussion? If there is no discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. Consent agenda is approved.
I move to approve the minutes of the January 13th, 2020 Economic and Physical Development Committee meeting.
Approval of the minutes. Needs a second. Second, do we have a second?
Second.
Second, Commissioner Garber. Any discussion on the minutes? All those in favor say aye. Opposed, same. That motion approved.
That concludes my report, Mr. Chairman.
All right, you are up again on finance and administration, Commissioner Powell.
The committee moved to authorize Buildings and Grounds to purchase a 2020 Ford F-250 Super Cab 4x4 pickup with signature Ford in the amount of $30,420 to replace the old 2002 F-150.
It's been moved by the committee. Do we have any discussion on this? Not with a roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Garber,
Yes.
Commissioner Marks,
Yes.
Commissioner Plowman,
Yes.
Commissioner Webster,
Yes.
Commissioner Holzhausen,
Yes.
Commissioner McMaster,
No.
Commissioner Root.
Yes. That motion is approved.
The committee moved to authorize the Sheriff's Office to purchase a 2020 Ford Transit 350 LR cargo van with a Havis prisoner transport insert from Signature Ford of Perry in the amount of $51,830 from the Sheriff's Office Capital Outlay Fund 101-351-970.000.
Committee is moved.
Support?
Any discussion?
That's okay. Yeah.
Kind of new to all of us. Any discussion on this one? If not, we'll do another roll call vote.
Commissioner Marks,
Yes.
Commissioner Plowman,
Yes.
Commissioner Webster,
Yes.
Commissioner Holzhausen,
Yes.
Commissioner McMaster,
No.
Commissioner Garber,
Yes.
Chairman Root.
Yes. The motion is approved.
I move to approve the minutes of the January 13th, 2020 Finance and Administration Committee meeting.
Motion, do we have a second on the minutes?
Second.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. The minutes are approved.
Mr. Chairman, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Commissioner Plowman. We'll go to Public Safety and Courts, Commissioner McMaster.
Item A, the committee moves to approve the minutes of the January 14th, 2020 Public Safety and Courts Committee meeting.
Support.
Motion and a second, Commissioner Plowman. Approve the minutes. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same.
Mr. Chair, would now be an appropriate time to comment on condition of the jail, or would that be in a different
You
part
have
of the
the
meeting?
floor.
Okay. There's been some public comment that was made yesterday, or the day before, I don't remember, but conversations about the jail. Since we had that millage, obviously we've had a leaky roof, we've had stuff damage in the evidence room that was reported. There have been media reports in the newspaper, TV, social media. We have had people in to look at the condition of the roof. We're getting quotes. There's structural issues when you start taking the roof off, with potential walls moving in and outward, and other things are being quoted. Kind of getting an idea of potential repairs. The comment was made that we haven't done anything or the jail's fine. That's not true. There's cells that have been closed. There's toilets that are no longer functional. The population has had to be reduced because of that. So it isn't like the problem has gone away. So with that completes my report, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner McMaster.
Can I ask a question about that? Is there a group that's getting together to come up with some?
We
what is the
talked
plan?
about that, and we haven't formed that group. There's been discussions, whether it's a couple commissioners and a couple people from the public. Nothing formal has been done. Clearly, when the evidence room was leaking, that was something that had to be dealt with, immediately, and restoration and cleanup, protection of evidence, and all that stuff. But since some other people have come in and figure out the roof. Okay, how bad is the roof? You know, we're finding out that some of the structural stuff is worse. But so far, there's not been a committee. I believe there will be a committee or subcommittee or something set up sometime in the near future. So I'm assuming you'd like to be on that.
I will.
So, anything else? Please, Member Portis.
Sure. Thank you, Commissioner McMaster. We'll move on to Human Services. There was no agenda items. Commissioner Garber, do you have anything to add at this time?
I do not, thank you.
All right, we'll move right to Committee of the Whole. Commissioner Marks.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would move to approve the minutes of the January 15, 2020 committee level meeting.
We have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Commissioner McMaster, any discussion on the minutes from Committee of the Whole meeting? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. That motion is approved. Anything else, Commissioner Marks?
No, that'll complete my report.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Marks. This time we'll move to other agenda items. At this time, do we have any other agenda items that we probably shouldn't because we already approved our agenda? So, do we have any discussion from commissioners at this time?
I have something I'd like to share, just to report out and also just get some information to you guys. The OWASO has formed a complete count committee for the census, so there are kind of three efforts happening right now. Cavalier Community Services got $6,000 to do pre-census awareness and education in underserved population. The United Way is putting some effort into census education. And then this complete count committee has formed in Owasso, and because Owasso was identified by the census office as one of the most undercounted communities that needed to be counted, and in fact that's also true of most of Shiawassee County. And so these three groups, I've met with the leaders of each of them this week, and we're trying to make sure that all of them communicate, coordinate, so that there's not duplication and overlap of services, but that they can have sort of a united front in making sure that the people in our community know how to take the census, because it's going to be almost primarily all online this year, which is a challenge for our senior citizens, for people who live in poverty, and for people in rural areas. And so Becky Zemla has worked with Fairfield Township, and her nephew is the supervisor there. And they are going to be making an effort there through their township because they are so rural. And I know that many of our other townships are rural. So I sent an email today to Commissioner Garber. I know that you work with MTA as their Secretary Treasurer to see about getting a person to come to the next MTA meeting to talk about what townships can do to be sure that everybody in their township gets counted. The reason this matters so much is because funding for the road commission and funding for the health department and funding for our schools and almost everything we do, including how many representatives we get in our legislatures and all of those sort of things, come from the census, and we have to live with those numbers for 10 years. So whatever you can do to help promote the census wherever you go, and if we can make some effort with the townships to try to get the rural areas counted as well, that would be great.
Mr. Chair, can I comment on that?
Commissioner McMaster.
I've had a conversation with Becky. She recruited me, and I'm being placed on her committees or part of the work group and everything. I'm being added to the list, so just wanted to add that. So when I hear stuff, whatever, I'll report it. But
Okay, appreciate it.
just wanted to share that.
Yep, thank you. Any other commissioner at this time? Do we have anything else that we need to discuss? All right, then we'll go to the chairperson's report. I do have the ad hoc committees. I've spoke to enough, many people around the county. For now, we're going to do an investment and pensions committee sort of together. It'll require probably a few more people. Our treasurer, Julie Sorensen, will be on that one. Lori Kimball, Tony Newman, Shana Espinoza from Pleasant View, Commissioner Plowman and myself, and I believe, and we need the sheriff and one of his, or a representative from the sheriff's office for the pension side of things. And I believe, I don't want to say right now, but the lady from the road commission that I had a
Jen
chance
Rose.
to, yes.
I talked to.
Okay, so she's interested in serving as well.
Yeah, she,
And then we put together a health insurance ad hoc committee to look at our insurance, look at all of it, look at all the different options we can have out there to kind of tackle the ever-growing costs that seem to be with insurance, so we want to look into that. It might be for nothing, we might all come back to the table and realize Blue Cross is always going to be the best option, but you never know, there could always be something.
You know, even they, Mr. Chairman, don't have other plans, and they think that we are probably on a more expensive one than we need to be.
Okay, well, that's all good information. And for that committee, we have Celeste from our office, who handles a lot of that. She'll be sitting on that. Amber Bias from the Health Department, Larry Johnson, Tracy here in our office, and Commissioner Plummer and myself will also be on that one. For technology, we have Commissioner Webster and Commissioner McMaster. The RESD will have a representative. We don't know who it will be yet at this time. Lori Kimball, our Registry of Deeds Treasurer, Julie Sorensen, Jenna Julie from the Drain Office, our Deputy Drain Commissioner, and our Clerk Carolyn Wilson. I'll be on that. I'm going to leave sort of the dates, or try to, when you want to plan on meeting. Commissioner McMaster, Commissioner Webster, it'll be up to you guys to kind of set that up and coordinate with the people on there. Just as Commissioner Palmer and I will coordinate with some of the others. And then personnel policy, we just kind of want to retool that a little bit. I think we've got some gray areas and we need to just get it kind of across the board to everybody. And then when we do get it set in place, we need to work hard to get that kind of implemented in our contracts across the county too, because that seems to become a problem where, which creates hassle and confusion when you've got 3 or 4 groups outside of our non-reps. Non-reps are by us. Some contracts have personnel policy, some are not. So it causes a lot of confusion in some of the things. So as much as possible, obviously we can't make unions do everything we want, but we can certainly work towards it. So for that, we have, that will be our county coordinator, like Karen Dean, Celeste from our office again, Amber from the Health Department, Larry Johnson, and myself, Commissioner Plummer. And at any time, if Commissioner Plumman or I can't attend, or somebody is interested in attending, I'm sure one of us can flip our schedule around and make it work. We probably won't. I want Commissioner Plumman and myself to be involved heavily in investments and pensions, but as far as health insurance and personnel policy, if there are people interested, those are something we can do, we can talk about. So we'll look to meet towards the end of the month. I know the treasurer was maybe the 23rd, I keep thinking, the 23rd of this month was a meeting. So we'll do something probably around there after that at least. We'll start with investments and pensions, and everything else will be kind of to be determined. But hopefully by the end of this month, we get moving on that to at least establish what the plan is moving forward, what's the timetable, and what we hope to accomplish. So that
Mr.
is.
Chairman, will that schedule be on the meeting schedule on the county website when those meetings are scheduled?
Yes. We'll make sure we get it out
Add to
there.
that, because this is an ad hoc committee or work groups, are we beholden to Open Meetings Act? We have to post the hours. Where are we in this?
I'll check.
Okay, thank you.
Our plan is if we have to, then obviously we will. The plan will also probably be to do during work hours, so that some of these individuals don't have to be here,
Right.
doing work stuff on their own time. So they will try to be mornings, afternoons, for the most part. So I don't know if that's subject to it, but certainly our
We'll find out.
coordinator will check in, and if it is, then we are. And if it is open for public, Open Meetings Act, then more commissioners can be involved. So that's a benefit too. So that really is all I have. I addressed the filming. We're back up and running. We didn't realize that was going to be as much chaos as it was, but we are up and running. And obviously now we have our technology committee that is going to be tasked with still looking into that and finding us some better solutions and better options with that. And we'll continue to move forward with that. We'll continue to have that there, and we'll see it every month. It'll be up and out. And clerk.
2 things. On the recordings, one thing that in the past, you guys, I would say, could you raise your voices? Because Casey and I utilize it to sometimes hear or make sure our minutes are correct. So I know that when we talk loudly or clearly and our heads up, we can hear much better. On another note, right before I came over, I go to a number of Chamber of Commerce events that they put on at different times. They do little informational things. And they're doing one on, I want to say the 21st, at 8:30 to 9:30 regarding basically marijuana in the workplace. And they're bringing in an attorney that deals with human resources departments, and his resume looks quite impressive on what kind of things, you know, how much do we have to put up with as employers and things like that. And so I was looking at attending, but the county is a member to the Shiawassee Chamber, and it might be something you may want to have someone go to, just because I like to be informed, and it's $10 and it's an hour. So with you looking at the policy and procedure, I was thinking when I saw it that we're going to have to address our contracts with things, and that would have been a topic now that would have to be discussed.
Can I comment on that?
Yes, you may.
Still against federal law. We have some departments and offices within the county that have a zero tolerance policy right now. But we probably do need to look into this. We probably do need it readdressed in the policy book and everything at some point. But, I mean, like I said, there are some places here that it is zero tolerance right now. Whether you're on duty, off duty, or working, or whatever, and it's still against federal law. But I'll leave it at that. Courts will decide in the future, I'm sure.
Oh, it does seem like it's like alcohol. You can't use alcohol when you're at work, you can't use alcohol, you know, so it seems like it should fall under, but you never know, you never know.
Just depends what your job is at the county too.
That is true, that's true. All right, well, the 21st, 8:30, 9:30.
If it's any different than the 21st, I'll let you know tomorrow in an email,
Okay.
but I do believe it's the 21st.
Usually Commissioner Holzhausen attends those.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna be our eyes and ears over there, or?
Well, I don't go to them all.
You are now.
I'll probably be there, because I go to some.
Is that Armory too?
I'll plan on it.
Is that Armory?
I believe so. I'll have to, it popped up right before I was catching up to come over.
Oh,
Yeah, I've
just-
seen
you
that.
just put on the internet? You just got on
It
there?
just was
Oh,
today.
I usually get emails from them.
Yeah,
It
they
just came
they've
up
sent
later.
out an email, yeah.
All right, anything else?
That was it.
All right, thank you. That finishes my report. This time we'll go to the second opportunity for the public to address the board. If anyone has anything, I know Lad didn't want to go. Just 1 second, does anyone else have anything before he goes? All right, then you're up again.
Thank you, and thank you for reinstalling. I didn't even see this when I was up here earlier, but I think that's a good idea. And it was brought up, I believe, by Commissioner Garber that, well, let me just say, misinformation abounds. You can't have conversation one-on-one without the possibility of misunderstanding entering. So all I would say is the only real effective solution to misunderstanding is as clear conversation as possible, communication, and transparency. So I'm glad we're moving in that direction. I didn't know that they, I don't know if anyone has any easy access to those written rules of community participation, but I'm glad to know that they do exist, and I'd be interested in seeing them, and I'll do the other piece of it online. Real quickly, today's a historic day. I'm retired and will be able to make morning and evening meetings. And, you know, the Constitution is its way right now. It's working, but it's moving. And you may want to hear about it, but if you watch the news tonight, you will not be able but be reminded of just how critical this is, because it's going to boil down to the rule of law. And I'm an odd one to say that, because I'm not entirely likely to embrace most of which comes out of the law, but it's the only thing that at bottom matters. And the Constitution is, in this country, is that basis. as far as the jail is concerned, you know, that's a big problem, and, you know, I'm sure there's still time to get another item on the ballot this November, but I doubt that's likely. But I'll just speak directly from the little bit I know coming from the community. With the school money that we're all paying, and I'm glad to pay for that, I don't think your jail is gonna go through anytime soon. And I think you need to look at how you can reduce the census and keep people safe over there. Because no matter, it's been made abundantly clear that that is inadequate for staff and the people whose freedom have been taken from them. And it's just a lawsuit waiting to happen, and it's gonna end up being hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions. And we all know that there's a case pending where that'll be determined. And there's more of them that could very easily come our way. Thank you.
You.